Hi, this is Glenda, and today I'm making a soap using the snowman embed that I showed in my last video. And this first part is just the sketching design process of what I was going to do initially. And next I'll move to the actual making of the soap. So before making this soap, I need to put the embed in it. So I'm using white soap dough. And this is going to be the mold. Hopefully it doesn't leak. It was breadcrumbs and I have got some soap in it already. So this is going to be the snow in which the snowman is standing on top of. I think I'm gonna add this first. So I'm just pressing it and it looks like that. Alright, so once I have this full, I'm going to spray ideally water, but I don't think I have water in a spray bottle right now. So I'm going to do just alcohol. I'll do the same here. So I tried just to press this, but as you can tell, it's not in the center of it. So I'm gonna try to adjust this. That's looking better. Okay, I've tried to place it as straight as I could. I'm not 100% sure that I've achieved that. It seems to be more on one side than the other. No, I think it's really twisted. Alright, so for this soap, snowman glove soap, I'm going to add the colorants to the oils first so that I get a nice dispersion. And what this is primarily ultramarine blue with a little bit of black oxide. However, right now the black oxide seems to have taken over as it looks very dark. But hopefully the blue will come back once it's blended. And I do have the amount of colorants that I use in the recipe linked in the description. Well, it'll be a link to the blog post which has all that. I'm going to just use the stick blender to distribute this thoroughly. It's looking very dark, like a navy blue, which was not what I was going for, but maybe it will lighten up. And if it stays that way, it'll still be fine because it's meant to be nighttime, closer to nighttime in my snow globe scene. The oils are at 90 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 32 Celsius. The sodium hydroxide mixed with the water is 30 Celsius and 87 Fahrenheit. I'm going to add them slowly. Because this soap is going to be very dark, I am using tetrasodium EDTA on this one so that there is not much soap scum in hard water areas. I usually only use it when I'm using a lot of colorants in the soap. And I'm first just going to stir it thoroughly. And here I have some soap scraps that I chopped very finely, and then I mixed them with a little bit of silver and white mica and glitter. I think I use Enviro glitter actually. And that's to simulate the snow falling on it. So I'm going to add it here before adding the soap to the mold. Okay, it looks like I've reached a light trace. I'm going to go ahead and add the fragrance. Now this fragrance says that it doesn't accelerate. However, I don't trust manufacturers' reviews of fragrances because they usually, I appreciate that they test it. It's great to know. However, when they test it, they use a recipe that's very different to mine. They use full water and then they soak at like 76 degrees Fahrenheit, so really low temperatures. And the recipe has a lot of fluid oils, which mine doesn't. So I know that even though it may not have accelerated for them, it will probably be a different story for me. Okay, I can tell this is getting thicker. I'm just going to stir it to make sure the fragrance gets well distributed, and then I'm going to divide it. And to this part, I'm going to add the soap scraps that have been chopped. So I hope that this really reads like snow once it's in the bars. We will see. So then quickly with the leftovers, I just pour them into these oval individual cavity molds, and I'm gonna put some other embeds on it. And I'm also including the portion that I'd separated at the beginning in here. Okay, so it's been 48 hours later and it looks like it may be ready to come out. It feels hard. So I think I'm just gonna have to cut through this to get it out. So just cut through here. This side looks smooth, but this one doesn't. So I think I'm gonna wait. Okay, so after 72 hours, I finally unmolded this. One side was just stuck to the paper, so it has a very rough surface. The other side was very smooth, and the paper had like separated from here. I'm not sure how or why that happened, but this is the longest I think I've waited for any soap to be ready to be removed from the mold. So now I'm just gonna cut it so that alright, this is what it looks like. I think I know what the problem is. I think my batter was too fluid. I wanted it to be fluid so that it will go into every crevice of the embed and there wouldn't be any air pockets. But on the downside, it caused all of the small like snow embeds to go to the bottom. So I will not be surprised if towards the end I don't see that many snow embeds or sprinkles, however you want to call it. And the blue is definitely darker than I expected it to be. And I didn't show it on the screen, but I also added some black soap dough to the bottom of the bars so that it would look like the base of the snow globe. And the soap dough actually got attached, got adhered pretty well. Then after 3 days, I started doing the details for the snowman. I did the eyes with a pen, a ballpoint pen, that's what worked best. And then I just sort of smear more black soap dough so that it will stay just in the hole created by the pen. And whatever was left, I just wipe it off with a piece of cloth. The nose is done in a similar way, in which I make a little hole for it with a pen, and then I add a little bit of water with a brush, and then I mix some orange soap dough or pliable soap and shape it sort of like in a triangular manner to imitate a carrot. I adjusted the size a little bit after it was in. Then I think what the trickiest part for me is doing the smile. I don't do it in dots because it would be a little bit too time consuming, but I actually try to just to make the smile, and I just grab the tiniest piece of soap dough or pliable soap, and then I try to just shape it into the smile. I shorten it. In this case, I use the edge of the brush to create that curve. I added a little bit of water with the tip of the brush to act like glue, and then I just adjusted it so that it will be pointing upwards and it looks like he's smiling. And then the next steps were fairly simple and perhaps completely optional. You could just go as detailed as you wanted it to go. In this case, I'm just making some indentations for the scarf, and I chose yellow. I don't think I will choose this color in the future because I want to do some experiments later with clear melt and pour, and this yellow tends to bleed into it, as you will see towards the end of the video. I did some minor adjustments, and at this point, if you wanted to add arms, you could do that, or you could just leave it as it is. I think this also looks cute. For mine, I went ahead and added the arms just with some brown soap and just did the markings there. Again, I added a little bit of water, and it just helps everything adhere better. Later, I just added the buttons with just some black soap dough. And in this one, I didn't try to make it round because charcoal is supposed to be uneven shaped, and that's what it looked like. Now this is an experiment I did with one of the ones that I poured in the cavity mold, the oval one. I added more black soap to at the bottom, and then I added some glycerin soap, crystal clear melt and pour, and I had an oval mold in which I poured the soap and then I put this on top, and it actually got stuck together pretty well. I did the same with another of the round pieces that you're gonna see next. And this one I did the clear molten port in it's like a microwave tool to poach eggs. So it's rounded at the bottom. It was a bit tricky to get out, but I was happy with the results, and it's something that I may experiment with in the future. But for now, this is it. I hope you liked it. See you next time. Bye.